What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here. And day one was relatively loud, mostly because of the Justin Fields signing, but we did get ourselves a new running mate to Sauce Gardner, in cornerback Brandon Stephens, and a new starting safety as well, with Cisco from the Jaguars coming over. Day two, we had essentially nothing going on, and in day three, we had a flurry of moves here. Both people moving on from the Jets that won't be returning, in addition to some new faces that'll be in the building as well. So let's talk about some of the major guys leaving real quick, and then I want to dive into the new people coming in and really what it means, because for the most part, I feel like people have been pretty down about this New York Jets free agent class, and for some good reason, but I do want to chat about the prospects of kind of what it means for the type of people that we're bringing in, right? So as far as some of our first departures, CJ Mosley, arguably the biggest one, right? He's been with the Jets for the last 6 seasons or so. We officially released him, meaning we're taking, as a post-June 1st cut, we're taking his $16.5 million cap hit. We're going to spread that over the remaining 2 years, and there's going to be a portion of that, of course, stays on the books for us until June 1st hits. Overall, though, is going to help us out. I think it was time. People have been really fighting to release CJ for the last couple of years. It just always kind of felt like after that first significant injury for him, he wasn't going to be able to live up to that monstrous contract he got, really as one of the market-setting inside linebacker contracts at the time. 56 games with the Jets, though. I feel like when he was on the field, he was a success story and a huge part of the reason why our defense was holding up the way that it was. But it is time to turn the page. We're in a new era, the Jamien Sherwood era. So we'll see how that pans out compared to what we were able to do with CJ Mosley here. The second big name, Aaron Rodgers, officially released. A same situation post June 1st release. His $49 million cap hit is going to be spread over the next 2 years here. And essentially the same situation, right? A lot of promise with him coming in, significant injury, things never bounce back. But regardless of the age, regardless of the injury, the skill set that he showed the last few times that we've seen him at really some of his worst situations, or worst statistical seasons, I should say, we had the talent to win more than 5 games, and there's a culmination of a bunch of things that you can argue with, but ultimately the win-loss columns we know are a quarterback stat, and he was a significant enough reason why we didn't get over the hump. And yes, we had kicking woes, which contributed to directly 2 or 3 losses, but you would argue with a guy the caliber of an Aaron Rodgers, and I know it's maybe more of a namesake conversation than what he's actually done for a team lately, but he's talented enough to where you shouldn't be winning these low or losing even these low shootout type of games that we came down to a field goal, right? It's not like it was a 37-40 loss, right? You're talking like 12-9 losses that the Jets were taking here, type scores. The other 2 players, Brandon Echols, we lose one of the best CB4s out there. He goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers looking for a increased opportunity. And then Ashton Davis went to the Dolphins. The funny comments that I've been hearing around Ashton Davis are that people are going to miss his, I guess, affinity for creating turnovers, which is funny because when he was wearing the uniform, it felt like we only ever gave him crap and nobody really respected the job he did. I don't want to change my tune whatsoever at all. Of course, you just looking at a stat sheet, hate to see a guy that racked up 8 interceptions leave over the course of his career. But huge difference between him ball hawking out there and some of those opportunities falling into his lap. All in all, a guy that didn't live up to the athletic profile that said that he could have been one of the better safeties in the NFL. But I think he turned a corner last year, and so the Dolphins may be reaping the benefits of what the New York Jets were finally able to pull out of him with a little bit of a different, situation for him, I guess. As far as the new faces here, so with Justin Fields, he gets a return to even more faces, right? Garrett Wilson from Ohio State days, Jeremy Ruckert, Ohio State days. Now we add his former center in Josh Myers on a 1-year, $3.5 million contract. He was a rookie starter, had a ton of accolades in college after being able to effectively redshirt for his first 2 years. He has postseason experience. I feel like I just said this, but a 56-game starter. The book on him, though, is that the promise of his college days never really translated to the NFL. Yes, he was a starter for an extended amount of time in the majority of his rookie year outside of, the majority of his career outside of the major knee injury that he had his rookie season. But all in all, inconsistent run blocking and a bit of a below average pass protector is kind of the book on him. And I don't think this is a sign where you say, okay, we have something we can offer to where he'll be able to take a little bit of a leap here, right? I think he kind of is what he is. Yes, he may improve a little bit here, but what I've been seeing on the internet is that people feel like there's going to be a move with Josh Myers taking over the center spot and us moving Joe Tippmann to a guard position, and then, of course, moving AVT to right tackle. I don't think any of that's going to happen whatsoever. I think this is really your Wes Schweitzer type replacement, and you like a guy that has that snapping ability and understands how to play that position, and maybe you train him for guard capabilities over the course of the offseason here. But it does help to at least give Justin Fields some more comfortability. Speaking of which, we added a former teammate of his to the offensive line as well in Chukwuma Okorafor. Former third-round pick of the Steelers back in 2018, has about 60 starts across left tackle and right tackle collectively, 59 of those being at right tackle. He's the most intriguing, or I feel like I use that word way too often, but he's the name that's going to stand out for the purpose of he's a character question free agent signing. Not only did he have issues with the franchise that drafted him in the Steelers, where he was publicly making comments about regretting his extension, which forced Tomlin's hand to have to bench him and start their rookie before they were really ready to. But then when he signed with the Patriots last year in week 1, I remember Mike Tomlin making some comments about how he's a consummate professional, offers versatility, offers consistency, can play left, right side. When the Patriots wanted to get him on the field as a left tackle starter, things didn't really go well. Only played 12 snaps. That first game was getting beat pretty consistently, had some penalty issues, and really seemed like he was making a fuss, from my understanding, throughout the offseason, I guess leading up to him getting that left tackle start. And he ultimately ended up really just quitting on the team. And he did make some comments via Instagram or Twitter saying, don't believe everything you're reading. So I guess there's a little bit more to that situation than meets the eye, but overall, it kind of gives me the Mekhi Becton vibes, right? Trying to move him to guard, for example, because it seems like he'll be able to make best of some of the attributes that he would have offered at tackle while hiding some of the things that look like they were becoming problems. In Okorafor's case here, I would just assume he was really comfortable playing right tackle. And maybe George Fant is a better example here of a guy that really preferred to side and then things didn't really go according to plan for him. But, I mean, he's the veteran. He offers, I guess, to a lighter degree what you would get from a Morgan Moses from the experience standpoint, and a little bit of that consistency. But this is a guy where things could go south really, really quick. So we'll need to keep tabs on him in terms of any potential, tea or gossip that comes up over the course of offseason workouts. The next name here, Rashad Weaver, a 4th-round pick of the Titans in 2021. He's played across 36 games, has only had 4 starts, and this is your potential guy, right? This is the guy that you say, we've seen some promise before. We feel like we can pull that out of you consistently, right? We're not saying that you're going to take this huge leap into being a starter level talent all of a sudden, or a top type player at your position. But Weaver has the potential to be a solid rotational contributor based off of that 2022 season where he racked up 5.5 sacks. Interestingly enough, he's a converted inside linebacker, so maybe that contributes to some of the, slow development that he received. But there's going to be some familiarity here, of course, with not familiarity, but there's going to be some connection here with Aaron Curry. I'm assuming looking at him and feeling like maybe he's a guy that we can also use in certain packages to drop into coverage and pull off a little bit of tomfoolery there, I guess, for lack of better words. There was an interesting tidbit, though, that his tenure with the Titans maybe ended up abruptly getting cut his last year because he rubbed coaches the wrong way. I don't know if that's a personality standpoint, a work ethic issue, or something else along those lines, but another guy we might want to keep tabs on. And then ultimately, we re-signed another one of our own, Isaiah Oliver. He brings that safety cornerback versatility, gives us the option to use him at either one, but you could also look at this as the opportunity for him to fall in line as the Brandon Echols replacement here if he plays his cards right, even though I assume we will be making another addition, whether that's in free agency or the draft. Now, to cap things off here, ultimately, if I look at these signings, again, if you look at things in a vacuum, Justin Fields looks like an undervalued signing, right? A guy that you're hoping to fulfill some level of promise on, but you look at the last couple seasons he played, you aren't relatively excited. Brandon Stephens, a guy that, again, stat sheet watching, you aren't excited by what he's offered whatsoever. You look at Andre Sisco, he's really the only guy that maybe you take a look at and say, this makes sense, the money that he was offered, what he's proven statistically, what the game film says backs up for him. And then, of course, all of these day 3 guys. Josh Meyer, I think, is the best value add out of all these guys as someone that can step into place and not completely wreck your offensive line. But you really just kind of understand the baseline of what you can expect out of him. Rashad Weaver, undervalued signing. Chukwuma, probably a value signing here, but considering the character concerns and question marks here, and of course the last time we seen him in a game, it looked pretty terrible. Undervalued signing, and then Isaiah Oliver, decent enough, right? But just in terms of these new faces, it looks like more bad than good. But what this screams out to me is Aaron Glenn and that staff have a level of ego or pride to them that says these are guys that we feel like we can make quick turnarounds in a year, right? None of these contracts are major commitments. Nothing's necessarily keeping them from being able to move away from some of these guys after just a year. But if things go well, then they look like geniuses, right? Guys that have either filled in as key backup pieces when they weren't expected to be decent role players, or in Justin Fields' case, Brandon Stephens, guys that make good on their ability to succeed at a above average level as a starter in the NFL. And Justin Fields, really the icing on the cake if he can show anything that will resemble needing to attach franchise quarterback status to him. So if the coaching staff is that confident in these guys, that doesn't necessarily automatically make me say, hey, I'm confident in these guys as well. But I look at a Justin Fields, there is that level of intrigue where you look at the tantalizing physical traits. You say, if we can course correct some of these passing issues, his ability to read defenses and go through progressions, we are going to be very excited with him. Brandon Stephens' case, the memo that I've seen out there is that he's been this close to those stats looking above average or elite because he's been in play. He just hasn't necessarily made the play. And again, you look at Aaron Glenn, you look at Steve Wilkes, the expertise, new cornerback coach, and you say these would be guys that should be able to turn around someone like this and be able to take advantage of what the previous franchise was not able to do. Same thing here with Rashad Weaver, and I don't know, man. It's a bit of a toss-up. The bottom line for me is none of these guys we should be that upset about. Ultimately, we're talking about depth guys that are looking to fill in and find some of these key roles. You can make the argument about why we didn't spend money to go out and, get some of these upper tier guys like a Bosa that you've seen the Bills make space to go get. But I don't think that is necessarily the focus point. When we hear Aaron Glenn speak about being in a win now kind of mode, I guess you just make the assumption that everybody we're looking to sign should have some level of starting capability, but that's not the way you build the team. You still look to see if you can find those hidden gems, those really turnaround projects where things just haven't clicked in other situations, and you feel like you're offering the perfect environment for them to succeed and thrive in. So I'll trust the coaching staff in this play, but there's plenty of concern to go around, just like there's plenty of optimism that could be placed on each and every one of these signings if you want to go the half glass full approach. So let me know what you guys ultimately think. I don't, from my opinion, I don't look at any of these guys and say this is a clear, terrible acquisition for us. But, I could be wrong. Again, we'll see what happens when I dive into some of my breakdowns for these guys. But let me know what you guys think. What would you give our free agency draft haul so far as a grade? And I'll catch you guys again. Peace.